Lesson 5, Unit 2. Results-based reports. Good results-based reports have the following characteristics. They compare actual results with the planned results. They explain the reason for over or underperformance against the planned targets or milestones. They describe the unforeseen problems or opportunities and the recommendations for changes. They tell a story of how the results were achieved, identifying lessons learned. And finally, they recognize the participation and contribution of partners and key stakeholders. Performance reports are used mainly to inform stakeholders about the accomplishments of the project. The information collected in the report is focused on comparing expected results to the results actually achieved to date. If results achieved fall short of what was expected, this signals possible problems that need to be discussed and resolved. The performance reports include charts to help visualize the data from the indicators in a format that facilitates identification of problems. Results are the common point of focus for reporting. The logical framework matrix and the results performance framework are the point of reference for reporting. The report identifies what has been promised in the log frame and performance framework during the planning phase and compares it with what has been achieved. The report indicates how the project is progressing during the implementation in terms of actual results stated as outputs and outcomes. Here are some guidelines for effective reporting on results. It's important there is a clear relationship between planned performance and actual performance. The information presented is accurate, timely, and in accessible format. The report identifies gaps, variances, and assumptions, and the information presented is unbiased, balanced, and complete. Reporting on results is much more than reporting on activities. It measures where the project is in comparison to where it planned to be. The report is an opportunity to stop and make an overall assessment of the project. Reporting is also a communications tool that stimulates discussion among project stakeholders. The overall purpose for reporting is to support the achievement of development results. The content of a progress report will contain three main elements. These are the status of the implementation, the status of the results achieved to date, and recommendations for action. Progress on implementation includes status of the key activities undertaken during the reporting period and any variances from plans, the identification of issues and challenges and other factors that are affecting the implementation, an update on the identified risks and mitigation plans. This can include the identification of new risks that can have an impact on the project, a status on the budget and any variances from plans, including currency fluctuations and other financial factors that are affecting the approved budget. Depending on the timing of the progress report, the report may include a status on the results achieved during the reporting period. The content of this area includes the status of actual results versus planned results at all levels of the results change, sustainability of the results over a period of time, a description of how the project is addressing cascading themes such as gender and environment, and an update on the beneficiary reach at all levels of the results chain. The final part of a progress report includes recommendations for modifications to the approved project annual plans, required changes to the performance measuring framework and monitoring plan, and recommended changes to the allocations of resources. The report will also include lessons learned in the areas of achievement of results and plans for the next reporting period. Project reports can be categorized by the time they are needed. Each report will contain information to meet the needs of the project and stakeholders at different times during the life of the project, from inception or the time at the start of the implementation phase, quarterly reports to monitor the implementation process, annual reports that consolidate information, and the final report to inform about the results of the project. The donor, the organization, and key stakeholders may have different reporting needs at each one of these reporting periods. The Inception Report is a good practice of Rbpm that provides a review of all the information available at the beginning of the project, usually 2 to 3 months after the project started. It's developed by the project manager. The purpose of this report is to ensure that all key stakeholders have the same baseline information, the same understanding, and are committed to the implementation of the project. The content of this report might include a review of the project strategy and structure, a review of the performance measurement framework, a review of the risk management plan, and the work plan. Quarterly reports are mostly done for close monitoring of the implementation progress. The information is brief and used by the project team and senior management to make decisions on the project. The quarterly report compares planned to actual expenditures, activities, and outputs. The quarterly reports are also used to update the organization's internal reporting systems and aggregate all the data for end-of-year reports. Annual project reports are used to measure the overall performance against specific targets and milestones. There is an emphasis on progress towards outcomes, including the analysis of outcomes and progress towards the strategic objectives. They are used to capture the learning experience of the project during the year and its recommendations. They are also required to plan the next year and make the necessary adjustments. This type of report includes narrative analysis to complement tables and charts of data. Final reports include information to assess the relevance, the achievement of results, and sustainability of the intervention. The report might include information from the summative evaluation with lessons learned and recommendations for the next phase or future projects. The final report is a donor requirement at the end of the project and may require specific information. What makes a good results-based report? Here are 4 elemental characteristics. It contains a summary statement of progress made during the reporting period. Progress is presented in results terms for both outcomes and outputs. It reflects actual results based on data collected over the reporting period. The report confirms if the original assumptions in the log frame are still valid, and if not, they need to be reformulated. Finally, the report indicates what adjustments, if any, are needed to keep the project on track to meet its intended goals. Here are some basic quality criteria that a results-based progress report should have. The report must be complete without the need to look for additional information. Must be balanced, representing the good news and the bad news. Consistent. The data and information are consistent with the conclusions and recommendations of the report. The report is practical and useful to the needs of the decision maker. It has a clear call for action. It's reliable. The report is based on actual data and analysis from the monitoring system. Finally, the report is readable, reducing the use of complicated technical terms and can be used for a wider audience. Here's a list with the most common elements that a good progress report should contain. Progress in achieving the project results. Progress against plans. Financial progress against plans. Risk updates. Justification for delays or variations from what was planned. The actions required by management and other key stakeholders, and a section on plans for the next reporting period. Finally, it is important to reinforce 2 points. Reporting on results is not an end in itself, but is an important part of effective management and accountability. Reporting is an integral part of an organization's ongoing operations and helps in decision making and organizational learning. And finally, reporting should help promote a continuous improvement feedback loop for the next planning cycle.